Hi, I'm SharRon Jamison, CEO and founder of the Jamison Group. And I am so excited to be here again with Shannon Amos. Our goal at the Jamison Group is to find people who are daring to soar higher and really living outside of the status quo so that they can make their heart sing. And so I'm so excited here to be again here with Shannon Amos. Hey, welcome, Shannon.
Hey Sharon, how are you?
I am so great, and I'm so glad that you're here. I know that it's been a moment since we have had a chance to uh, chat. So bring us up to speed. Where have you been, and what are you up to now?
Well, since the last time we talked, I have traveled to, I think it's 9 countries, and I leave for Vietnam a day after tomorrow, and more than 6 states in India and too many provinces to count.
Wow, 9 countries. One of the things I believe is that every country and every culture exposes us to a different part of ourselves. Tell me, what did you learn from every country that you're taking with you along your journey?
Wow, I've learned so many things. I mean, first of all, I've had to totally learn how to step outside of my comfort zone to connect with people and meet them where they are. So, really trying to force myself to participate in the culture, not force myself, I enjoy it, but to speak the language, to try to learn the language wherever I go, and to really just connect with people with an open heart and I've learned something in every culture from various religions, from Islam to Hindu to Buddhist, really more in depth than what I knew before. And the spiritual traditions, the practices of gratitude, for instance, in Bali, the morning meditations of the monks in Thailand. I mean, it's really just been an incredible experience.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the spiritual practices. I want to stay there because I
Mhm.
think that when you think about all the challenges that we're seeing in America, the hurricanes, Charlottesville, Las Vegas, Puerto Rico, all of the tragedy, and I understand from my own life is those spiritual practices, even in the midst of tragedy and trouble, they ground me. Tell me, what are some of the practices that you have learned throughout your travel that some of us from America maybe can incorporate in our lives to try to provide a sense of calm in the midst of this turbulence that we find ourselves in?
You know, it's funny you say that because I've had this conversation with other Westerners that are here in Southeast Asia. And one of the things that I've really noticed that's very prevalent is that Asians and Southeast Asia are not as reactionary as Americans. There's not that sense of entitlement. And so when I actually witnessed an accident, for example, a motorcycle scooter accident, and the woman in an SUV hit a woman on a scooter. She was okay. She got up, and there were no foul words. There was no yelling or cussing. It was a calm, she was disheveled and surprised, but there was no exchange of negative words or name calling. And I see that culturally all over Southeast Asia. I don't see like these really loud arguments in the streets. I don't even think I've witnessed anything like that. Maybe an occasional domestic tiff between a couple, but I rarely see anything, reactionary. And I don't know if I can contribute it to meditation or if it's just the upbringing, but emotionally, I don't see those charged reactions, which is really beautiful.
Have you experienced any of the polarization that we see in America? We see a lot of ideological bunkers where people are taking sides, and we see people living in these sense of absolutes. I'm wrong, you're right. This is good, this is bad. I'm going to heaven, you're going to hell. My faith is right, your faith is wrong. But here you are traveling through all these different places, cultures.
Mhm.
What are you seeing? Do you get this sense that there's also this sense of a greater sense of oneness over there? Or do you find that there's this polarization that we have over here?
You know, it's interesting because I did a post once, a live post called Traveling Black. And one of the first things that I noticed was how much stuff I was carrying with me as a person, on a spiritual, mental, physical level, from living in the US. And I realized that as I started to travel, I had to like work through that. I have not been followed in a store. I have not been profiled. I have not been talked down to. Actually, quite the opposite. I've been treated like a queen. I've been, you know, called Madame and Mrs. and people holding doors and going over the top to please me. And in stores, you know, 9 times out of 10, the shop owners may glance up and say hello or sawadee ka or whatever their local greeting is, and then they go back to what they're doing. There's no one hovering over you to make sure you're not stealing or taking anything, and that's beautiful. But in terms of polarization, I would say that as a traveler, though, I am seen as an outsider, as a tourist, or as a traveler, or a backpacker, or as they say here in Thailand, a Ferengay. So they know I'm from the outside, but one of the things that has granted me access is volunteerism. When you travel and you participate in helping the local community, the locals give you so much love. For example, I was in Bali, you know, people were opening doors and giving me rides. Uber drivers or Grab drivers wouldn't even charge me when they found out I was a teacher, you know, teaching yoga. So it's really beautiful.
Wow, I always have been told that love is such a universal language. And I think that's what you are exemplifying over there by just not bringing your presence, but bringing your gifts, the gifts of teaching, the gifts of love, the gifts of gratitude. But I also know that you are giving the gift of yoga, that you're using your teaching, your gift of yoga to share with the communities. Tell me about that transition into yoga, and what role is yoga now playing in your life?
Well, I had the blessing to travel to India, and I received the gift of yoga teacher training while I was there. And it wasn't something that was even on my radar. I mean, I wanted to learn more about yoga, but I never knew that I would be going to India, like the motherland, to learn yoga. And the teaching, the philosophy of it has truly shifted my life, my awareness. I mean, I was already teaching meditation, but this has sort of taken it to a deeper level. And it's allowed me to, you know, go on a journey and keep my heart open and be in the awareness of what's happening around me, and being more mindful about how I move about the world, being conscious of my footprint as a tourist on the environment and within other cultures. So it's really been a profound change for me.
You know, Shannon, I know that we don't have a lot of time together. Tell me, what can we do here in America to open up our hearts and open up to our minds to other cultures? You're there, you're going through culture to culture, you're learning. What can we do as Americans, as Westerners, really, to open up our minds to the riches in other cultures, so that we can be better and we can be braver, so that we can be more open and more inclusive of each other?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Well, I think number one, I love this. I know this is a kind of a cliche, but change starts with you. And I truly believe that when we learn to honor ourselves and love ourselves, then that radiates outward. I totally believe in energy, and I think that as we do the work to elevate our own energetic vibration, then that's felt around us. So first thing is doing the work for yourself. And then the next thing, I think, to connect with others is to be willing to have an open heart, to not be so closed, but to be open and to brace others without judgment, without fear, to be willing to go into other communities right in our own backyard. You know, we have the African American community, we have the Latino community, we have Asian community, we have you know, people who are coming over from other countries. and they need assistance. So I think it's stepping out of your comfort zone and being open to help wherever you can. And that's the best way to make that connection.
Wow, I'm gonna see. I'm just looking at a question that I wanted to ask you because I know that you are starting to speak internationally, and I think that is amazing. As a speaker myself, I think it's no other joy than to share your space and your energy and your talent with other people. Because I think anytime you speak to people, it's really you're just a channel, you're just a vessel for the message of God. That's what I believe. So every time I speak, I know I open my mouth and it's not me. So I know that you're going to be speaking in Italy, and I'm so excited for you and I celebrate that. Can you share more about how you got involved in that project, and how can we learn how to connect with you there?
Yes, absolutely. About 9 years ago, I was working at Warner Brothers with a beautiful woman named Teresa Campbell. And after I left the company to start my own company, she also left and she started her own company, which was an event planning company. And she has since watched me and reached out to me to contact me to tell me that she saw that I'd left the U.S. with a bag, and she couldn't believe it. She was like, wait, the diva that I know left the U.S. with one bag and a backpack? Like, she couldn't believe it. And she said that she watched me and she said, well, if Shannon could do this, so could I. And a couple of months after she watched me go from Bali to India and maybe in Malaysia or something, she packed her bag, went and visited her kids, and she took off for Italy. She sold her stuff and she took off for Italy. And she's since moved her company there, Be Next Entertainment. And she's planning her first international event. And she reached out to me to see if I would be willing to speak and to teach yoga and meditation. And of course, I was so happy to support her. This is going to be an incredible event, a sister circle, if you will, where women from all over the world will come together for 4 days of empowerment, yoga, meditation, business and professional development, marketing and branding. So I'm really excited to be a part of this, and I'm very grateful to Teresa for having me.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I know that the women are in for a treat, because what I have learned in my own life, it's one thing to have expertise, but it's another thing to have insight. And the insight comes from trials and tribulations. Our insight comes from our struggle. And I know that the people are going to benefit not only from your business acumen, but your wisdom that you have gained from every country. Because I believe that in my own belief, I don't know how important it is, but in my own thought, I believe that God gives every culture something different, because to ensure that we talk to each other, to ensure that we reach out to each other. So I think it's such a blessing that there's all these places that you have been, and you're going to bring all of that to Italy. And so I look forward to, I might come, I'm not sure, because I'm traveling a lot, but I know those people will be blessed by your, like I said, your experience, but also your insight. Well, Shannon, I know we have to leave, but what words of affirmation or words of encouragement can you leave with people who are on this journey of self-discovery, also on this journey to soar higher in their personal and professional life? And also, how can people stay in contact with you so that they can support you on your journey?
Thank you. I think the best thing I can say to anyone that's watching this is that keep your heart open. Listen to your intuitive voice. That voice is the voice of God. It is the voice of your higher self, and it will steer you in the right direction when you listen and you don't second guess it. It's carried me through all these countries on a very limited budget, and it's given me the most incredible experiences because I've trusted the process. So trust the process, listen to your heart, and keep it open. You have the ability as a creator to create anything. And I truly believe that. And that's what this is about, us empowering each other, lifting each other up, especially now where it's so important.
Trust the process.
Yes.
That's something I think that we all struggle with, but something that I think that if we continue to do and walk in that I call it fearless and faithfulness, because they're together, you know. And so thank you so much for the words. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for continuing to share your journey to the world. Like I said, I am always in awe of what you're doing. And every time I watch you step out in faith, it makes me step out differently. I'm stepping out. I'm not in another country. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone in so many different ways. And so just know that you are being not only a good model for me, but a mirror for me and for so many other people, to let us know what's possible and to encourage us to travel spiritually, travel emotionally.
Yes.
I heard this saying that the most important journey that we will ever take in our life is the journey inside our own soul.
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm
I
seeing
agree.
you watch your journey, and it's making me journey inside my own soul. So thanks so much for joining us. Can I please have you back in the next 2 weeks so we can check back in?
Yes, please. And if your listeners want to follow or share, you can go to my Facebook group, The Spiritual Traveler. You can also find me at shannonamos.com. And if you're interested in joining us in Tuscany, go to transformintuscany.com and tell them that click on the link that says I invited you for a special gift when you arrive.
Wow. Well, I might see you. I might see you. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your time. I celebrate all that you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and just continue to be love and light.
Thank you so much, Ron. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Kokunka. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.